Bonjour everyone, I am Annelise Caillez and welcome to Parlez-vous CEO, where we teach the corporate talk and get real about entrepreneurship. Each week, I chat with founders and CEOs who build businesses their way, through the failures, pivots, and breakthroughs. And they bring the fire. Plus, I'll drop some golden nuggets of wisdom from my own entrepreneurial journey. This is your space to grow, learn, and evolve with a true growth mindset. Remember, success isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Now let's kick things off and get this party started. Hello, bonjour, bonjour, hello, and welcome to another episode of Parlez-vous CEO. My name is Annelise Caillez, and I am your host. For those who are just joining the podcast, we're Brandora, and we specialize in helping real estate companies scale their revenue. If you want to learn how to take your business to the next level, make sure to stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth in the DMs. And so today we have a very exciting guest. I'm pumped to have Andrea Wardell with us today. And Andrea, we spoke a month ago now. I'd love for our listeners who are meeting you for the first time, if you could share a little bit about your story and a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Andrea Wardell. My company is Wardell and Holmes Real Estate. Wardell is my married name, although I am divorced. Holmes is the name of the street that our office is on. So it's a combination of the past, the present, the future. I've been in real estate for 17 and a half years now. I am very excited that Wardell and Holmes has our 7-year anniversary for this company. On June 6th, we're going to be having a very nice celebration and encouraging and working with the arts community in Kansas City is where we work. We work in Kansas, Missouri, and I also have my license in Colorado, and been doing real estate, like I said, for a very, very long time, and I'm an investor myself, and I'm happy to be on the podcast. Thank you very, very much for having me.
Yeah, it's so great to have you. And so I remember that you started real estate in 2008. Could you tell a little bit to listeners how you started, the first challenge, and how you overcame them?
Absolutely. So I got my license in 2008. I was working in the restaurant industry and was approached as I was working at a bar on St. Patrick's Day. And my mentor, Liv Berkeley, approached me. She said, you should get into real estate. My father has had his real estate broker's license for probably at this point over 45 years in Arizona, Minnesota, and he doesn't do a lot with it, but he's had that. So it's always been something on my mind. I think that real estate in all reality is a communication and a people business. And so the restaurant background, showing up for work, getting paid, wearing many hats, it's very translatable. And so got my license and basically have been working with investors initially because the market changes in 2008 are slightly familiar to where they are today in 2025. So I've been through extreme levels of, I don't know what I'm doing. How am I going to make any money? Working multiple other jobs just to keep this going, to also being a owner of 4 companies over the last 17 and a half years. And in addition to that, watching the market and listening at the same time, because real estate is fluid. You need to do in certain markets, you need to have guidance on. And so right now it's kind of getting back to that feel, but always a good time to invest. And it's a great place to put your money. But I'm up for a challenge, and I have been for what feels like most of my life, although I'm 40.
That's awesome. And Andrea, what's your favorite thing about real estate? What is the thing that you love about what you're doing?
Results and relationships. We talked about this in our last session, but I would say most of my business at this point is referral. So it's a solutions-oriented success that continues with that same client or a referral from that client to somebody else. This week, I was really, really touched by testimonials that my team had gotten from somebody that they had helped buy or sell. And those words and those feelings are impactful because everybody knows a real estate agent. We have a good experience that continues to snowball into, years of referral business where you're not scrambling around figuring out how am I going to find somebody, because now you have that tenure. And in addition to that, it feels really great when there's a success and you continue to repeat that process. So I like the results aspect of it, and I like making my clients happy.
And speaking of clients, what's your ideal profile for a client? What are the people that you love helping?
I love helping everybody from just a client standpoint. I'm going to answer this in two different ways. From just a client standpoint, at this point in my career, I feel more excited about the investor client
Hmm.
because they trust me. There's less of a process of the feeling side of it, although they feel
Hmm.
happy when it works. And then for my team of agents, which we just added three more since we spoke
Hmm.
last, it is whatever it is that they can find themselves specialized in. A lot of my agents, they feel so excited about a first time home buyer, right? Because it's a dream. It's the biggest investment of your life, and everybody feels very happy about homeownership. At my point, I love networking, I love mentoring, but I love making sure that whether it's one of my agents or one of my own clients, that like what they asked for, they're getting, and then some.
And so, how big is your team now?
29 agents.
So how is training 29 agents? What process do you have in place? Because it's a lot of people, it's a lot of questions, I'm sure. Like, how do you deal with a 29 member team?
I appreciate that question too. And one thing that's kind of cool is I've never recruited.
Hmm.
I'm not put out ads. I'm not reaching out to agents directly. One thing that I thought was kind of awesome recently is there was a an agent that reached out to me on Facebook, and I did not know her. She started doing open houses for us. She was with a different company, and she started really proving what it is that she was wanting to do and how she could do it. And she's working with the company now.
Hmm.
In a 2 week period, she's gotten three transactions,
Wow.
meaning buyers or sellers set up. A former client of mine that we helped them buy a home, the one husband and her wife that bought this new construction 3 years ago, she just got her license. She's multilingual. So
Hmm.
this is another arm to help with clients of any arena. Another client of mine who I've sold multifamily to and also have hired his mariachi band for
Hmm.
events and also multilingual. He's getting his license again.
Hmm.
So arms and arenas of how we have a team that can assist anybody in any capacity is what makes me excited when it comes to training. I do training in a way that's a little different from maybe your bigger box corporation or franchise companies. I do them in reality of process and people. So your only job as a real estate agent is to find clients. Outside of that, there's no need to train on paperwork. There's
Hmm.
no need to sit in classroom. There's no need to do anything. It's an initial understanding company core values, understanding what our office expectations are, and of course, following real estate guidelines. But outside of that, like there has to be the why, and the why is the client before you apply practical knowledge. So we set up, mock showings, right? It might be on a property that I own, and you're going to show that property to Penny, our director of operations, and she's going to be there to ask the questions that you may not be prepared for. But
Hmm.
at our company, if you're a brand new agent, you do your first three transactions with a mentor or myself, and then we go there forward. You learn a lot in real estate school. It's a lot of law, it's a lot of memorization. And outside of that, it's the people work and then it's the paperwork. And these things have to happen in real time because you can't apply knowledge that isn't applicable if you don't have something to apply it to. So we do very like grassroots marketing too and more just applicable training because in real estate school, they don't teach you how to open up a lockbox. And you should never be out there on your own. It's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to the client or customer. So it's hands on applied training.
So when you started your own brokerage firm at the time, or even since you've had it, I am curious, did you weigh the pros and cons to join a franchise, or did you always want it to be independent?
So this is my second company that I've owned on the real estate side of things. I had a
Mhm.
property management company too, but I never knew that I wanted to be a broker owner. I knew that I wanted to be in real estate. I had an opportunity. I was with a company for several years and that tie was severed. And I was like, okay, what do I do? This was when I sold that company, it was probably like 9 years ago. But that company didn't exist. uh, I started figuring out when I severed ties from a company that I was with for many years. Well, what am I going to do now? I started looking for like positions online. I was like getting another job in real estate, of course. And I was able to meet with somebody that we kind of came up with a game plan. We figured it out, and by we, I mean, you know, me. He was more on the management side, I was more on the brokerage side, and I didn't know that I wanted to do that until I did. I knew I wanted to do real estate. I knew what my values were and what my proposition was for this industry. And I started getting really excited about being a broker owner when people came to the table. And that
Mhm.
means like the agents that had worked at the previous company and the company now. It's really, I don't know, I guess special in a sense when you can see other people's dreams become a reality.
Mhm.
And sometimes you can have people that want to come to the table also that want to get a license and maybe they don't want to apply it. But I feel like very, very, very proud and excited about somebody that has their hustle on and they're like, this is why I'm doing this. And I've changed up processes of any sort of interviews or why are we meeting? It's the why. And the why is something that is becoming really important to me. I can't make you have a hustle. I can't make you want to do what you are doing, why you did this. All I can do is help you apply it and teach you what I know and help, nourish that. But if you don't have that in you, it's really, really hard in sales. And when you see these agents or, then they become brokers and then like they just start really like snowballing into successes, it's like, it's a satisfying feeling because what I've set up is working and that's for them as well as the company, of course, but it's really cool.
That's awesome. And so, what are the whys that you're looking for when you're speaking with new recruits? What is the thing that you're picking up
So
from?
I have this right here for you.
Mhm.
A individual reached out this week and I did not know her. We put this like questionnaire together. So the questions are, how did you find out about the brokerage? She gave a response. Why do you want to be affiliated with Wardell and Holmes Real Estate? What is your why? What is your mission statement? What are your goals? What are your expectations from the company? And what are your expectations for yourself?
Mhm.
And that was not in place before. We've grown organically, but it is important as I've learned as a business owner and as a broker. Well, sometimes things don't work out. The why is why that didn't work out.
Mhm.
So for me, it's always like ebbing and flowing and pivoting to fine tune like what the organization looks like because it is important. And so when somebody reaches out and says, hey, I'm getting my license, I just got my license, like this questionnaire is important. And if they don't fill it out, they don't know. I would say that sometimes that's maybe just for time, but also it can become a reality as to what that would look like as they're representing buyers and sellers. Or if you don't know why you're doing something, where's the passion behind it?
Mhm.
You're not motivated by people or money or process or property, probably not going to make it in this
Mm.
industry. But a lot of people say, I'm going to get my license for many reasons. I just want to have it so maybe I can represent myself on a property, or I want to have
Mm.
my license because I want freedom. We talked about this on the last session, and freedom in real estate is not real. Like
Mhm.
you're at the whims of the market, your clients, and you don't have to check in with somebody. But if you're getting a license for freedom, it's probably not going to be your full time position
Mhm.
because we are at the mercy of our clients and their time.
So you're really looking for passion, whether it's the you're passionate about making money, about real estate, about helping people. So you're looking for the right passion that will align with
Correct.
business. I love that.
If I were to ask you why you're doing this podcast, what would you say?
I'm trying to elevate as many women as possible in the real estate space. I mean, my big mission is to put more money in the hands of women, and my way to do it is to elevate women in real estate.
And so that's a very easy response for you because you
Mhm.
believe in it, right?
Yeah.
If you don't believe in what you're doing, you might, have some successes along the way. I hope for everybody. But if you don't believe in it, it's hard for it to translate into a full time, mentality.
Absolutely. I think you need to have the mindset and clarity on why you're doing the things because this is what will get you out of bed. This is what is going to make you, do the proposals and be in the
Uh
nitty
huh.
gritty in the less glamorous part of your work. So if you cannot reconnect to your why because you don't have clarity, I think that makes it really difficult, especially when this is a marathon, right? Real estate
Right.
is a long-term game. So you need to buckle up and be very clear
Yeah.
on why you're doing what you're doing.
You've got to be motivated by something. But
Hmm.
having a license in general, I say this in all due respect, but you have to have and I can't remember if I told you this last time, but I always think about this. You have to have more education to cut somebody's hair than to sell real estate, which is typically people's biggest investment, and hair
Mm-hmm.
cuts back.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the passion of being the best at your craft, if you are not going to set yourself apart in your communication, your ethics, your mentality of the reason you're doing what you're doing every day, probably not a good fit for my company.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. I like how you establish processes to be able to define what are the values that I'm looking for and the traits of personality I'm looking for so that you can get the best hire that are going to fit with your culture as well, which is really important.
Absolutely. And any agent that has ever reached out to me, I always encourage them to go meet with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you decide that you're going to make this decision, maybe you're changing industries. We have two other new agents that I'm like so jazzed about, but one is from the medical field, right? And her why right now is that she wants to assist her husband and partner in a large development. But her why also is that she wants to be able to not be in the medical arena anymore, but that doesn't take away her contacts there, right? That's still her network. You have to have a
Mm-hmm.
network as well. And she's mindful of what that space looks like. They have a new addition to their family. So she's not the type of person that's reaching out that says, I'm going to get my license and then it's up to me to make sure that they're okay. She knows what her lanes are and she's going to be respectful of that because she's building that up for herself. It's interesting to me very many times where like because you have a real estate license, you hold it with a broker, people don't seem to understand that it is your business. I just hold your business under me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very, very important that if you're not able to describe to me who you're asking me if maybe we can work together, why you want to do that, I don't know how that translates to clients.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
people respect passion, people respect communication and follow through and everything else. And that's with any business, of course. But there's a very, very small portion of agents and brokers that kind of set the bar of success. And then you can get your license, hold it with whomever that just puts licenses, in the Rolodex of licenses. But they don't care. If you don't do anything, you don't have to worry about it. But my team is small and it's hands on, and that's by design. So I do care. It's like if you're not ready to work, that's okay. I'll hold your license, but understand what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And that goes for me too. You will not
Mm-hmm.
do transactions without the right training and supervision because that's the trickle down effect of industry.
And so, with your business now, if you could have a magic wand to solve one of the biggest challenge that you're having at the moment, what would it be?
The biggest challenge I'm having at the moment is media, clickbait, real estate articles. Everybody, scrolls through their feed in the morning or whatever it might be. There's a fear factor right now, and it's intriguing and frustrating at the same time because I subscribe to multiple different newsletters, but obviously in working in real estate every day, that you could find on one platform best time to buy, best time to sell. And then in the same breath, there's never been more inventory. Okay, well, that's true. That's when you target your investor clients. Hey, more inventory, less competition. Interest rates has been a big topic, tariffs, all these things. But if people are serious about completing a sale, whether it's a buyer or a seller, they need to understand that they need to hire somebody that knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Google is grand. We all use it for everything every day. But at the end of the day, they're not a real estate professional. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, I saw this on this. I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. So, communication, I think, is my biggest challenge right now because uninformed information, it can be a detriment. If you
Mm-hmm.
think that you know something because you read it online or you were on a platform or your friend told you or whatever it might be, but you want to do it, but that's stopping you, have a conversation. Like I have a consultation in an hour right now. This was somebody that I had as a lead 2 years ago. I hadn't talked to her in 2 years. She calls me. I'm not going to talk her into something that's not right for her life right now. I'm going to tell her what it is that she needs to do to get to that place. So it's education, it's communication, and it's knowledge. And it's not knowledge that benefits one person. It benefits the big picture, which then therein like goes back to referral business.
Mm-hmm.
If you said to me, hey, I want to buy this property and I'm going to go look at it for you. And it has some issues that I want to discuss with you. You better believe you're going to hear all about it because I represent you. There's sometimes too much movement, too much confusion, and too many people that are like, well, yeah, if you like it. But that does not create retention. And this industry is getting very systemized in terms of different platforms, a lot of which are very helpful. But at the end of the day, you cannot remove the human platform of trust and respect. You hire a person in this industry to represent you. You've got to you've got to trust that they are doing that. And so I think communication and like just really dialing in on, is this the right time? Here's what I'm thinking about this. You need to do the inspections. You have like, there's some clients that are extremely sophisticated and they just buy everything and anything because they're investors or whatever it might be, but it's still the same level of communication. If I'm going to be asked to represent you, I'm going to do it the same way every time. I don't care what stage you are in real estate. It's unwavering on my end. It's just, it's frustrating for me, somebody that is newer to this or even not, that's going, well, I saw this and this. And I'm like, let's just have a conversation because you may be selling yourself short by paying $1,800 a month in rent. Did you know that if you wanted to buy this house that you're nervous about, your rent would be $1,300, but you're not paying rent to a landlord, you're paying a mortgage and you own a property. So
Mhm.
it's education, communication all day.
That's really interesting. And have you felt that there's a lot of bad communication and bad information out there when it comes to residential real estate and it can really, affect
I
people
wouldn't
badly?
say that it's bad. I think it's too much, right? So everybody that reads something is not going to interpret it the same way,
Mm.
right? Because it may not apply to you. You might not even know you want to be in a real estate arena as a buyer or seller. It's like, don't say I can't until you know that's a reality. Oh,
Mhm.
well, it's not the right time. Okay, well, why? Well, my credit score. Okay, well, let's talk to some professionals that could help you with that. Oh, well, my lease or like if you stop yourself at a place of no without further exploring anything, you're going to get stuck.
So it
And so,
sounds, go ahead.
no, you got
So it sounds like you're seeing a lot of limiting beliefs. You're meeting a lot of people who are already like saying, no, I can't because of this. No, because I can't of this.
sometimes we're busy. I've had 2 closings this week already. I believe personally I have another 8 in the next month. But I will say that the belief system is an initial conversation. These
Mhm.
aren't people that I'm already working with. It's somebody that signs up on our website. And I say we, but it's me, pay a lot for different targeted ads, right? Or SEO, different lead source platforms. And so somebody might just be looking online and say, oh, I love this property. And they sign up on the website and there's a conversation to be had. And maybe I'm just looking because I like to look at, property. Maybe it's, well, I don't know the next steps. We're going to go old school on this if it's logical. Many of our clients don't live in Kansas City, nationwide, globally, United States wide, but I want to have a sit down. And I'm starting to think about real estate even more refined than I had before, where if you want to hire me, I want to be able to make sure that we're having a consultation so that you know your role and you know my role, and there's no wavering from that. And I'm here. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what you're going to do. And I'm going a little bit more formal in the best way I can if it's applicable. Because you call me or send a message to my website. I've never met you. You've never met me before. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to work with you, but I want to sit down and have a consultation. And I think that with the automation of this industry, it's gotten very far away from that. But 99% of the time, somebody's willing to have a consultation. We're going to do deals together. I'm taking that time. You're renting or, your mom's house is in probate and you need help. Like, it doesn't matter what the topic is. If they need help with it, I want to help. And maybe that's not right for them, but I can promise you that a lot of people would say, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't have time for that. And nobody has all the time in the world, but I don't want to push anybody away from a conversation if I can help them with education.
So you feel that if it's been a cold lead, you need to have them on the phone in order to at least do a consultation, and usually they're on board once you've spoken with them.
Yeah, so we have a CRM that like basically integrates to our website as well as the different lead platforms. When a lead comes over, and this is something that I probably won't do myself forever because at a certain point I can't be doing all of the things as the owner of the company, but I will do what I need to do. Lead comes over, I can see if there's a good phone number, a good email address, and I can see what it is that they've been searching for because it's integrated to the MLS. And then I'll look at the location. If it's a location where one of our agents, like for instance, Kyla, really specializes in, I'm going to assign that lead to her. Initially, like a auto response comes out that says, "Thank you for signing up on the website." And then the agent will call, email, text, or come up with a time to meet in person. When it's a lead that does not go direct to even though it's integrated direct to the website, like a call from Zillow, I will talk to them. I have to, and I get to, and I'm a premier agent with Zillow, but it comes to my cell phone directly. So that's a live connection, and I'm going to chat with that person. And I'm going to discuss with them, what are your goals of this property? And then I'm going to set up a tour. I'm going to set up a sit down with them. That is like a hot lead in a sense because they're already looking and they're actually trying to integrate. It can be a cold lead though, however, because there's no questions on the platform site as to whether or not they have an agent. So the first question I have to ask and to explain to the consumer is, do you have a real estate agent? If the answer is yes, there's no conversation, of course. I cannot talk to you. If it's, I just wanted to talk to the listing agent and that's not me, I explain that process to them. Do you want representation? If you do, we should meet and chat about it. The difference in the way that this is working from a formal standpoint, I think we talked about this on our last call, but we have to have an agreement to show anybody anything prior to showing them since August 17th, given the NAR lawsuit. It's been a very good thing. And it's been a very jarring thing to the potential consumer that's like, what do you mean? I just want to go look at a property. And so we've created an infographic as to why you have to sign this for me to show this to you. I'm not the listing agent. And they go, well, we just want to talk to the seller's agent, listing agent, however you say in different markets. They don't understand that that person still just represents the seller. Okay. So if you want them to open a door for you, and maybe in the understanding or your thought of ease, and or maybe you could maybe get a better deal, that's not real either. And so we've gotten very creative as to a commitment on this spot is hard to do, right? So like you call me through Zillow, you call Zillow, I explain to you, this is not my listing, but I'm very familiar. I'm going to send you over disclosures. You don't have an agent. Oh, you would like to look at it this time. I will need a buyer agency agreement. And so we've started doing like specific to the property. So we're staying within the compliance of the real estate commissions, but you're not committing to me and I'm not committing to you for 6 months. Prior to that, I would always show somebody a property if they were brand new, not a repeat client, because I would have an agreement with them. But prior to the requirement, I would want to vet them out too. So you call me, I say, yeah, let's meet at this property. I'm going to fill you out. I want to understand your goals. I want to see what it is you like about the property, don't like about it. And you have kind of like a in-person consultation in that capacity. Well, now that's not a reality because if I don't have an agreement with you to show that property, I can't show it. So the better side of that is if you were a serious buyer in my old way, in the way of, meeting somebody for the first time, I would show properties for weekends, 7, 8, 10 a day. And that person was never serious. So because it's becoming a more formal requirement, although it's always been a requirement to have a buyer agency agreement, now it's a requirement for just a showing for a buyer agency agreement. I'm going to know if you're serious or not. I'm not going to show you 100 properties because you're bored this weekend and you just want to look at properties. Like it becomes more formal, which I think weeds out some of the time wasting. But for some people, it feels like too nerve wracking to have to make a commitment to somebody they're just talking to over the phone. So there's like this little bit of like middle ground. And so for our office, it's at the minimum that property. So I can show you legally. And then we take it from there. And then, hey, we're going to go to my office and sit down and kind of chat about this if it's somebody that calls in on the fly. It's, I ever changing in that capacity when it comes to the ways that people come over wanting to look at property or wanting to reach out to you. But it's very, very, very important to me and always will be that they understand back to the why. Here's why you have to do this. And they go, well, I just looked at all these properties last weekend and I didn't sign anything. Not with my firm.
Right. So it's been like an extra step, but at the same time, it is a good qualifier for you
For
because if
sure.
the person is
Absolutely.
serious, then you're actually meeting people who are serious about the process. So I think it's definitely adding maybe a bit of friction as it's an extra step. Nobody likes extra steps, but at the same time, it's also saving you time as you're only working with pre-qualified people. I mean, people who are actually interested in
Absolutely. And
yeah.
the other kind of cool thing too is like agents that just have gotten their license, they don't know anything different. So like brand new agents that have come over, I always train them the exact same way. But if they start their process, like just got licensed, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, whatever it is, and they keep their business model as a consultation, and then of course you have to have the agreements, formalizes their finesse of this industry too. Instead of like, hey, yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Like, take a second, do some research, make sure you know what it is you're showing, make sure that you're prepared for that. You know this person's legal name, you know what their goals are in terms of this property. It kind of preps the agent a little bit more than before, where when I was 22 years old and I'd get a call, I'd be like, sure, of course, I'll babysit your kids and show you 50 houses today. Just hoping because, I was hungry and still am, but I think it is redefining some standards that perhaps were a little bit loose.
I like that. I actually like that it's adding some type of structure. I think it's professionalizing the industry, and I'm into that. I think it lifts all the standards, right?
Absolutely.
And so, Andrea, you've had a really long career now in real estate. Have you been looking up to certain leaders or influencers, or do you have a dream dinner guest that you would love to have over?
I would say I learn something from somebody every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very cool because if you're not learning, you're basically stuck. A dream dinner guest that I'd like to have over, maybe Chelsea Handler,
Mm-hmm.
because I find her to be very candid and funny.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, maybe a couple other ones that come to mind are no longer living, so I don't know they'd be able to come over for dinner. I've always, growing up, for whatever reason, and I don't believe that this is a reality that she's no longer living. So forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but I've always like been interested in. I'll just give you a category instead of a name, like kind of comedic older women.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Like I grew up watching things with my mom, like Golden Girls, right? And just shows where like my sense of humor, I think, got a little bit more elevated at an earlier age. I wanted to be Barbara Walters when I was growing up. I liked interviewing people. I like to learn things. I like to see just all walks of people in life. Anybody that's doing anything that's cool and they like, and I can tell that they like it, I want to have you over for dinner.
Mm-hmm. Ah, I love that. And so, to my next question, what would you tell yourself, your 20-year-old self, if you were to meet her now?
Slow down, take a second, pause, make a list, check the list, check it again, and go forward.
Mm-hmm. Have you felt that you've gone too fast?
I mean, in many things every day, like there's movement, right? Like I'm so very thankful for the team that I have here. If I'm out running around, I can't do everything at once. And, I have to do what I have to do. And so I have that infrastructure. Initially in this career in general, I was doing whatever, right? But process and slowing down and taking a couple seconds and asking questions and checking all the boxes and making sure that you're not wasting time. I think that a lot of time we get so excitable about whatever it is that we're doing that we almost like haste makes waste, right? So if you just, I don't know, even if it's not real estate related, if you start every day with a moment and a pause, that day might be better than you think, instead of waking up and going, okay, well, I'm just going to just go without mindfulness and a little bit of extra thought to it. It will probably make you less stressed and probably make you more money and more peace.
So, strategizing a bit more, using your energy, but in channeling it the right way.
Uh-huh.
And Andrea, what's coming up next for you? What's the one thing you want to achieve with the business for the next year?
So I'm pretty pumped about our 7-year anniversary coming up in June. We are going to be having a very big celebration at a building that's been a real big problem for me. It's a property that I own that I love, passion purchase, but it's in our arts district. So there's going to be several artists there. There's going to be a community event and then our 7-year anniversary. And then we're getting ready to engage on a potential 55 home, single family and 55 and over community, as well as 14 new construction townhouses. And I would say today, the group that we have and a potential additional agent that's coming on board, I've got a very, very large amount of respect for. And has not always been perfect, of course, and it never will be in anything, but who I have on the team right now is a bunch of badasses. And I'm very thankful for that.
I love hearing that. And something I read on your profile is you believe in working hard, playing hard. Can you share with the audience a bit more about that and what are your philosophy?
Oh man, I always try to have fun. I feel like as you get busier and busier and being a business owner, there's no work-life balance. And so there's been many times in my life where I've had a lot of fun. And then there's been many times in my life where I'm like, there is no fun. But I do have a trip coming up, which I'm excited about, to Argentina.
Nice.
And I have a client of mine that purchased or sold a property recently. And he lives in Spain and I love Spain. So I will be going to see him before the end of the year. Work hard, play hard for me is every day I will use comedy in tandem with my career because there's really nothing to get too fussy about when there's a solution to it. But I don't know, I'm on being able to kind of roll with the punches, whether that's through self-deprecating humor or making sure somebody's not having too shitty of a day because I can make it better. But that's what life should be about.
I'm completely with you. I think when shit hit the fan, either you laugh about it or you laugh about it because what else is there to do in those situations?
Absolutely. We're doing some social media and we've done a lot more of this as the company's grown. It's been, sorry, I'm plugging my computer in. It's been a little harder to pay attention to this, but our marketing manager, Kelsey Pites, was she on an email with her, I believe. She's been working with me for like 13 years now, not only in my real estate companies, but in an apparel company that I had. And her brain and my brain work very well. She is creating like a magazine for our company, which we're getting ready to put out.
Nice.
We do like kind of silly marketing in addition to real estate marketing, but not everybody wants to see like a flyer of your new listing. Like, we get it, you do real estate. And her creativity and maybe my deranged comedy and coupling with that is so fun to me because it's endless. You know what I mean? Like, we have a series that's called Are You for Realtor?
Yes.
And there's just dumb things that happen every day. We have one that's like Field Follies, which is just like sometimes you go into a property and you're like, whoa, you know, in a good way or a bad way. But creating the ability to stay creative in my mind from an artistic standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, and my just in general demeanor is what keeps me also kind of balanced and focused. I get stay professional, but also there's a need and a want for me to be able to have that side of my brain too.
Absolutely. And it is a fun exercise to inject a little bit of personality into your brand, right? Especially if you enjoy humor. And there is a place for it in residential real estate marketing because exactly how many times can you do listing promo? Right. How can you keep people engaged? So there is a playful way to entertain people, educate people. And I think that's the fun of it. I think residential real estate definitely allows for that. So I think it's fun. It
definitely does. And it's kind of crazy to me too, because like over the years, like there weren't all these platforms. Like there wasn't TikTok. Instagram wasn't there. It was like when I started, it was like MySpace, you know? And so agents have had to get more creative because we're truly at this point to stay competitive, becoming marketing gurus. But does that translate into a sale? Not really. It translates into brand awareness and, relevancy. But if you are only doing one thing in general, like here's a link to this listing, and you don't have the diversity of it, then the way that people's brain works on the other side of it, they're like, yeah, we get it. Diversity of all efforts, I think, is important. We do a lot of things that are not social media too. Like I encourage my agents to, work in and around areas of places that they go to, whether it's for dinner, for their hair, or their dog groom, whatever it might be. But like who you know and where you go, I think is very, very important because these people already know you. And then you can also support their business and hopefully they'll support yours too. So cross promotion marketing is very impactful to me. Stepping outside of the regular box of what everybody else is doing is evolving and pivoting. There's no effort that doesn't go unnoticed. It's just not something you can do one time. Like we just had a lead generation meeting last week and I was like, okay, so it's getting nice outside. Go walk around your neighborhood. You see somebody's yard that's overgrown. You don't have to say, hi, I'm a real estate agent. Maybe they might need somebody to help them with that. Now you're giving value without making it about you. And it's not just about you as a real estate professional. And that's how you connect all these different webs, whether it's marketing, in person, if it's philanthropy, if it's however you want to look at it, supporting other businesses. It's a web of connections that continues to grow. And if you're not able to do that, that's cool too. But it is important because it's really just not about you.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you. Really, the mentality of serve before you sell, provide value, become a partner. And it's, again, it's a long-term game, so I think that's even more so important to stay top of mind with different channels and do lead nurturing. Thank you so much, Andrea. It was a real pleasure to have you on Parlez-vous CEO today. Thank you so much. And that wraps up today's episode on Parlez-vous CEO and our special real estate series with female leaders. I am Annelise Caillez, and I can't wait to join you again next week. Thanks for listening to Parlez-vous CEO today. If you enjoyed the show, leave a 5-star review. It helps us keep going. And connect with us on Instagram at Parlez-vous CEO. I am Annelise Caillez, and I know some days are harder than others. On those tough days, think back to why you started. What you're doing today matters, even when you can't see the results yet. Ideas are great, but it's what you do with them that counts. Find everything we talked about today at parlezvousceo.com. See you next week, and you've got this.